Good day from the Edmonton Remand Center chaplaincy team. We're so thankful to be able to speak to all of our volunteers today. Uh, we're really thankful for all the work that you guys have done for us over so many years, and for our brothers and sisters in prison. It is so important, the work that you do. There's 1,500 inmates at the Edmonton Remand Center, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface with what we can do, and even what our volunteers can do. We're so thankful for all the people that donate their time and come in and help serve us. So thank you. We thought it would be a good idea to stop and talk about some of the things that we expect from our volunteers. Unfortunately, over the past 3 years, we've had, over the past 1 year, we've had volunteers be removed by security. Most recently, our last volunteer was removed 1 week ago. And it caused us as chaplains to stop and take stock of what is going on, and maybe thought it would be good to come to all of you and just talk about some of the things that we hope our volunteers do when they're at our center. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 volunteers that were removed from our center were seasoned volunteers, and brought us great sadness. Good people, good hearts, and so it makes it even more important for us to talk to everybody. So we want to go over some guidelines that'll make our volunteer ministry successful. And the first guideline is nothing in, nothing out. Any prison that you serve, you'll hear the words nothing in, nothing out. This is for chaplains, this is for volunteers, and the premise of nothing in, nothing out is that we're not to bring anything with us to the inmates, and not to take anything from the inmates out of the institution. So we're not to send or receive gifts. We're not to mail letters. We're not to make phone calls or to gain information for an inmate. We're there to do the ministry that we've been called to do, but after that, we really need to ask the chaplaincy, is this something that will help serve the inmate, and is it a security risk? The second thing is to acknowledge known relations. This is another reason why one of our volunteers was asked to leave. So if you know someone in the institution, especially if it's a relative, please let the chaplains know. And we will probably most likely ask you to recuse yourself from ministering on the unit your relative is on or your known relation is on. If you happen to build a relationship with somebody, let's say at your church, and it happens, an inmate gets released and they start attending your church, and over the years you begin to know the individual, but then unfortunately maybe they end up back at the remand center, please let us know. At this point, your relationship has changed from where it was before, and we'd probably ask you to recuse yourself from ministering to them, but always being open and transparent so that we don't find out after the fact, or more security finds out after the fact, and they'd have you removed. The next thing is to stick to program offerings. When volunteers come, the inmates know a lot of you, and they know who you are, and they know what you offer. So if you're coming to offer, let's say the Rosary Project, come and do a great job delivering the ministry of the Rosary Project, but that's not a time to introduce somebody to a social services agency, or to do a one-to-one alone. We come for the reason we come. And the reason I bring up one-to-ones is over the last year, we've had some feedback from inmates about some of the one-to-ones they were receiving. And it wasn't always good. And so we just asked that the chaplains be responsible for the one-to-one ministry, and that our volunteers stick with the programs. Lastly, boundaries. There's a saying that the person with the greater role has the greater responsibility. when it comes to establishing boundaries. In the Edmonton Remand Center, the volunteer has a greater role and thus they have a greater responsibility. And the inmates, frankly, often don't have good boundaries established. In fact, that's a reason why many of them are in prison in the first place. I'll tell a little personal story. I used to work at Edmonton Maximum Institution, and oftentimes I would start visiting with people, and some of the questions were very similar. They'd say, can I have your pen? Can you mail a letter? Can you make a phone call for me? Can you, find out some information for me about this person? And my answer was always the same: no, 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 no. And it was really interesting. After I said no, it was almost like they settled down and they realized that they couldn't manipulate the situation and we could do ministry. And the same holds for us when we do our programs. When the inmates realize that there's no manipulation that can occur, then they can really just settle down and receive the ministry that you're offering. Good resource, if you're interested, is this book, a classic book called Games Criminals Play: How You Can Profit by Knowing Them. Authors Bud Allen and Diana Bosta, and it specifically goes into how officers are manipulated, but it definitely has crossover for us as chaplains and chaplaincy volunteers. So if you're curious and you want a good read on how to understand the way things go in prisons, this book is a good resource. You can get it on Amazon. Finally, I just want to, again, thank you for the ministry that you do. We have people ministering from every faith tradition at the Edmonton Remand Center, and we're thankful for everything that you do. May God give you peace and every good.